Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, if you've ever found yourself in the kitchen, just standing there with a spoon and that iconic glass jar, then you are in exactly the right place today. We are cracking open one of the world's most recognizable and maybe one of its most misleading food products, Nutella.
And we're going deep on this one.
We are. And we're not here for a snack, though. The mission today is to lift the lid, get past all that nostalgia and the advertising, and really examine its history, its surprising chemistry, and the huge corporate policies behind it all.
Yeah, and the sources we've put together for this deep dive are, they're pretty serious. We're talking academic studies from places like Georgetown, hard food science from the European Food Safety Authority, investigative journalism, even corporate documents.
So we got the full picture.
We really do. And what we found is honestly just astounding. What looks like a simple sweet spread is actually at the center of, world trade wars, huge agricultural policies, some really serious ethical debates. It's a deceptively complicated jar.
Okay, so let's get into it. I think we have to start with that origin story, the one we all kind of know.
Right.
1940s Italy, wartime, there's no chocolate, so Pietro Ferrero gets creative and mixes in local hazelnuts. It's a great story.
It's the perfect marketing narrative.
But the sources show a much more brutal economic reality behind it. It wasn't just, oh, there's no cocoa. The price of cocoa during World War II had shot up by a factor of 60.
60, yeah.
You just couldn't afford it, even if you could get your hands on it. It was completely untenable for a mass market product.
That's exactly it. So Ferrero wasn't just being, quaint or improvising in his kitchen. This was a strategic business move. His first formula in 1946, it was called John de Jo.
John de Jo.
And it was based on giandoia, which is this famous local chocolate paste that always used hazelnuts to stretch out the expensive cocoa. He was using local tradition to solve a massive global economic problem.
And that tradition, that high hazelnut idea, it got flipped pretty quickly as the product grew.
It did. By the time Nutella officially launched in 1964, the recipe was already being framed by this powerful marketing spin. Despite being almost 60% sugar, it was immediately sold to mothers as a healthy breakfast option for their kids.
Wow.
That whole narrative, which is detailed in case studies like The Empire of Ferrero, it just completely buried the nutritional reality from the very beginning. They were selling a confection, but advertising it as fuel.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. Because you look at the jar today, and the ingredients seem pretty simple. Sugar, palm oil, hazelnuts, cocoa, milk powder, lecithin, and vanillin.
Sounds harmless enough.
Right. I always imagined it as mostly hazelnut and cocoa. Maybe heavy on the sugar, but the main ingredients, the ones on the label art, you assume they come first.
And that right there is the moment of truth in this deep dive.
Yeah.
When you actually look at the formula proportions from the documents, the valuable ingredients are they're dwarfed by fillers.
Okay, so lay it on us. What's the real breakdown?
All right, so for you listening, get ready for this. Sugar, by weight, makes up between 55 and 57% of what's in that jar.
57%.
The next ingredient is palm oil, which takes up a shocking 20 to 22%.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me just process that.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that almost 80% of a jar of Nutella is just sugar and palm oil?
Precisely. Now for the ingredients that actually give it its name, hazelnuts, only 13%. And the cocoa, the whole reason for the product's existence in the first place.
Let me guess, it's tiny.
It is a mere 3%.
3%? That is genuinely shocking. To put that in real terms, a single tablespoon of Nutella has 12 grams of sugar. That's like making a big sip of cola for breakfast.
Right. And that ratio, it forces you to rethink what this product even is. It's not a chocolate hazelnut cream. It's more accurately a sugar-sweetened palm oil hazelnut-flavored cocoa spread.
Which doesn't sound nearly as good on a label.
Not at all. And it matters because the jar shows you pictures of hazelnuts and milk, which is completely misleading when sugar and palm oil are the real stars of the show.
And speaking of palm oil, the fact that it's a fifth of the jar, that brings us to the biggest controversy, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The sources are clear on this. Ferrero is one of the world's most aggressive defenders of using palm oil.
And because they use so much, they're under immense scrutiny.
Huge scrutiny. The environmental debate is well documented by groups like Greenpeace and the WWF. You're talking about massive deforestation, particularly in Malaysia and Indonesia.
Destroying critical habitats.
Exactly. The destruction of orangutan habitats is often directly linked to the kind of industrial-scale palm oil production that a company like Ferrero requires.
And the concerns go beyond the environment. There are serious health questions, specifically about how the palm oil is processed. We have to talk about that 2016 report from the European Food Safety Authority, the EFSA.
Yes, and this gets a little bit sciencey, but it's really important for you to understand. Palm oil itself is fine. The problem starts when it's refined at very high temperatures.
Why'd they do that?
To remove the natural color and odor, so you get that smooth, uniform product. But when you heat it above 200 degrees Celsius, it can create these byproducts called glycidyl esters.
They're bad.
They're considered potentially carcinogenic. Now, Ferrero's defense is that they use a controlled thermal treatment that stays below that temperature. But they're a private, family-owned company. They don't share their data, so there are constant calls for more transparency. But for now, we just have to take their word for it.
So let's just get to the bottom line here. Is Nutella healthy?
The simple answer is no. I mean, it's not poison, but everything is about dosage. Nutritionally, it's just poor. Very high sugar, high fat, and almost no fiber, vitamins, or minerals. It is the textbook definition of empty calories.
I thought the classification from the Harvard School of Public Health was really telling.
That's the key right there. They call it a hyperpalatable food.
What does that mean exactly?
It means it's engineered. It's scientifically designed with this perfect, almost unnatural balance of fat and sugar to hit what food scientists call the bliss point. It's made to bypass your body's natural feeling of being full.
It's designed to make you want more.
Exactly. It encourages overconsumption.
And it was that clash between the healthy breakfast marketing and the hyper-palatable reality that finally led to a lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
In 2011 in the U.S.
Yeah, specifically over those ads showing kids starting their day with Nutella on whole grain toast with fruit and milk.
Implying it was a core part of a healthy meal.
And the courts didn't agree. Ferrero settled the lawsuit. They had to pay $3 million in compensation to consumers who felt they'd been misled.
$3 million. I mean, for a company that big, is that really a penalty, or is it just the cost of doing business, the cost of maintaining that marketing myth for years?
That is the $1 million or $3 million question, isn't it? It's a fine, but when you weigh it against the profits from that narrative, it starts to look like a rounding error.
So we've covered the history, the ingredients. Let's talk about the sheer economic power here. You see theories online sometimes that Nutella is this grand lobby project to control the market or something.
You can probably drop the conspiracy label, but you have to confirm the immense global strategy. Ferrero Group uses 25% of the world's entire hazelnut supply.
A quarter of all hazelnuts on Earth.
Quarter. That's not just being a big customer. That is single entity control over a global commodity.
That kind of control must give them incredible power over prices.
It does. It dictates the market, especially in major producing regions like Turkey. Ferrero has this huge network of contract producers in Turkey's Black Sea region just to lock down their supply. They have immense leverage.
And what's wild is how shielded all this power is. Ferrero's still a family-owned company, right? One of Europe's most secretive food giants.
And that's the crucial part. They're not publicly traded, so they don't have to release detailed financial reports or disclose changes to their formula. They operate under this corporate cloak of secrecy, which lets them make these huge global moves with very little outside accountability.
But we've come full circle in this deep dive. A spread that started from wartime scarcity is now this global phenomenon that's both everywhere and somehow still a total mystery.
Delicious, but not healthy. Secretive, but with massive economic power.
Exactly.
And I want to leave you with one last data point to really chew on. Every year, the world consumes 365 million kilograms of Nutella.
That's an unbelievable number.
It is. If you took all those jars and stacked them end to end, you could build a line from here all the way to the moon.
Wow.
So when you connect all of that, the control over a quarter of the world's hazelnuts, the $3 million fine for false advertising, the reliance on controversial palm oil, it makes you ask a really important question. We want to leave you to ponder this. When you buy that jar, are you just buying a sweet treat? Or are you actively participating in a global food strategy that's been engineered for maximum corporate leverage and, well, minimal nutritional return? Something to think about next time you reach for that spoon.